Welcome to Minds in Motion at Shannon Johnson Elementary. This video is to help show you how the Minds in Motion lab works. First, students will line up at the door. First, students will go to the beam team. This is where students will follow along the blue arrows onto the red crayon to the next blue arrow as seen here. Students will then go to the electric slide. This is where students will look at the wall and feet will be facing the wall, but students will not be touching the wall. Students will slide to the right as seen here. When students reach this yellow line, they will turn around and then slide to the door as seen here. Students will then follow the arrows to the outside pavilion. That's where they will go to the jumping jack flash. This is where students will stand behind the green line. Then students will jump over to the opposite line like as seen. Then students will go to Skip to My Lou. This is where students will skip from this area to the next station as seen here. Students will then go to the beanbag boogie. This is where students will get one baggie out of the basket. They will throw the baggie as they walk to the next station. Once students get to the next red basket, they will gently sit the bag down and go to the Monster Mash. The Monster Mash station is where students will stomp on each yellow X as seen here. Students will then go to the crosswalk. This is where students will walk as they lift their right knee, touch it with their left hand, and with their left knee, touch it with their right hand as seen here. Then students will go to Climb Every Mountain. This is where students will step over an object instead of going around. These objects will change weekly, as seen here. Students will then finish this up and go back into the building following the blue arrows. This will lead them to the balance board bash. This is where students will find a balance beam, use a wall to center their feet on each side and balance, counting silently for 10 seconds, as seen here. And students will silently count for 10 seconds as they balance on the board. When the 10 seconds is over, students will then go to the jelly roll. This is where students will lay head closest to the wall, feet towards the end of the mat, and students will roll till the yellow line, as seen here. Students will then go to the puppy dog crawl and crawl on all fours from the yellow line to the end of the mat, as seen here. Students will then go to the blue line arrows and follow it to the step back. This is where students will go to the stairs and step back on up the stairs to the blue arrows, which go to the next station, the I Can coverage. This is where students will each get a rope, pull the rope to their nose, and they will look at the first object, counting to 10 silently. After 10 seconds, students will go to the second object and count for 10 seconds. Then students will go to the third object and count to 10 seconds. Then they will gently put their beads back down. Students will then go down to the end of the blue arrow, and then students will go to the strong arm push. This is where students will push straight out from the chest, perpendicular to the wall, and push, counting for 10 seconds. After this station, if teachers choose to, they can go to the eye to eye. This is where the teacher will be standing at this station with a pointer or some type of object that students can look at, as seen here. Students will look at the pointer and go from side to side, up and down, and follow the pointer. Once students have finished that, they can go and have a seat, waiting quietly for all students to finish the lab. This is how the Minds in Motion works.